Adam here, So Wizard Podcast. I'm sitting down with a ton of people from a new movie, When the Screaming Starts. How you guys doing?
Hey, good.
Hey,
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Awesome. This should be really fun. I've never done an interview with this many people at the same time. So
We have, we have. It can be a challenge.
you could say we're pioneers.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, normally I like to ask people to go back to the beginning of their journey, but we might be here for like the rest of the week if everyone had to give their whole resume. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves and kind of talk about how you came to the project and what your role in it was. If you want to
Who wants
start,
to go first?
Connor, it's clockwise for me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no, good. So my name's Connor. I'm the director, co-writer, and producer. I've been working with Ed Hartland, who is a writer as well on the project, and he initially approached me with the idea. Ed Hartland also plays the lead role of Aiden, and we took it from there really and just developed it over a period of months. And we produced it together along with Jared and Dom and cast these fine people.
Hello, I am Octavia Gilmore. I play Amy in When the Screaming Starts. I'm also an executive producer. I have known the core team, for a very long time. We've been working together on films and theatre shows. And yeah, I was involved very early on. Read the first ever draft at a read through over 2 years ago now, and then I was cast as Amy.
Hiya, I'm Caitlin Rennell, and I play Claire in the film. I wasn't involved until my audition, so I came in a bit later in the game. But yeah.
All right.
I'm Dom Lenoir, also Cinema Customer 1, as on IMDb in the credits. I met Connor a long time ago. I think it was at some kind of networking event of some kind, and it started off as advice. And we talked about different projects, and I started helping on this one because it looked like a good one. And then suddenly down the line, I found myself helping produce. So here I am.
I think that was the initial plan for Dom, but he got roped.
It was not the initial plan, but things escalated quickly, and the project grew into something quite decent. So it was nice to board.
It's a quote right there, quite decent.
You're gonna put that on your poster. I love the concept of it and the documentary mockumentary style, because that seems pretty popular now after both versions of The Office and now currently like What We Do in the Shadows. Those were the vibes that I was getting from it. And you guys really nailed it, because there's a lot of things that try it and it's almost like too many winks to the camera, or the camera's doesn't make any sense in it, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you guys managed to find that perfect line. Was that something that you really had to work at to, a little bit more, a little bit less, or how often do we acknowledge that it's a documentary, or things like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Everyone was allowed 3 winks.
What's that? Oh yeah, we had a tally. You're only allowed 3 winks to the camera. Yeah, it was definitely a consideration beyond, and I think it became apparent. We did a little teaser actually before the main feature, and it became apparent then that we could overstep the line and just do one too many little glances at the camera. So often we'd do multiple takes. Obviously, we'd try a bit of improv. So sometimes, the camera might have glanced at the camera. The character might have glanced at the camera in one take, but we cut it out there because we wanted to use it in the following scene, for example. So it was partly the actors knowing to restrain themselves, and partly just cutting them out in the edit when they were a bit overkill.
And you who were on camera, did you find that harder than in other projects? Because obviously you're used to being recorded while you're acting, but in this one, the camera is part of the character's world also.
Yeah, I think you had, as an actor, you had to remind yourself that it is another character. So, like in film acting class, they're always saying like, it's not there. And here it is. But I found that really fun. And once you are able to kind of treat it as another character, it just gives you a lot more depth with it. And I think when it's used in the right moments, when it's not overused, but you just use it in that right moment, I think that's where the editing comes in. It can be really effective. So yeah, it was like just playing with another actor on screen, except it was the camera, basically.
Octavia,
For me as a cinema customer, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. It's also was writing for that. Did you write that into the script, or was it just kind of feel it out for the actors as they go?
No, there weren't any glances written into the script. That was very much what Caitlin said. Just the actors having a relationship with the camera and just feeling it. Really, I mean, same with our DP Adrian Musto. He was quite fluid for a lot of the shots. You know, he would follow the action, especially when we were improvising a little bit. You know, it wasn't perfectly scripted or planned out. He would just follow the action, follow what was happening. It was quite intuitive and quite a fun way to shoot. I found actually, it was my first time.
Yeah, it seems like keeping it a little bit looser like that would be fun on set, maybe harder in the edit. You have a lot more to deal with, but lets everybody explore a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the actors felt doing it that way. They were the ones in front of the camera.
Right.
Definitely more fun.
No, really good fun. Yeah, and it was pretty fluid. But actually, from the relationship with the camera did change from the very, very first script, because the camera operator was a character, wasn't he?
Oh, the very
it was pulled back slightly from the very, very first initial script, and I think that was a good call to balance it out.
Yeah, he became the cameraman himself became an accomplice in Ed's very first early draft. Yeah, we did rein it back a little bit from there.
Okay,
yeah, because he's almost an invisible presence, isn't he? You know, the cameraman. You never see him. You are, in a way, it's like the POV of the audience, which I think adds another sort of level of intensity to everything, especially as the action kind of heats up later on.
Yeah. It's good that it was also kind of played for laughs, because there's like horrific things going down and there's just a guy recording it, like not reacting, not running, just he's just hanging in. He's a very, very professional.
We had a bit of creative license there, but I do like to think there probably are some trained documentary professionals that would just keep rolling under any circumstance.
Oh, I don't doubt. Not even trained professionals. Look at what people do at accident sites with their cell phones. They're not helping.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. No, accident sites, tying back into your movie. So there's the comedy, the way it was written, it's not written as it's written as a comedy. I'm not wording it properly. It's not like a laugh out, like you're making jokes and punchlines. It's all very dark subject matter, but of course it's played for laughs. Was that a challenge both in the writing and then for the actors in getting it across without going too far one way or the other?
Yeah, from the writing point of view, it was always a fine line. We were careful not to go too far either way, because it could have easily veered too much into the slapstick side of things, or we could have taken it just too dark, and then maybe the comedy wouldn't work. So I actually felt like we were constantly walking this tightrope of balancing the tone, the comedy, the darkness. Obviously, there were some big shifts, moments where it really the energy changes drastically, especially when the family are brought into the fold. So yeah, it was a constant balancing act, but the feedback so far seems to be that we managed that for the most part. So yeah.
Yeah, and from an acting side, I was just always trying to play it straight and achieve what my character wanted in that moment, and try and stay away from playing for laughs. And yeah, I think everyone found a really similar tone in their performances. It feels really cohesive when I watch it back. And it's great seeing for the first time the parts where I wasn't in the scene. And yeah, I think it was a great team to work with. Really fun bunch of actors to play with, and it was very free to go beyond the script towards the ends of scenes and see if anything else came up. And sometimes a joke might come up at the end, and some of those made it in. So a lot of them got cut.
a lot got cut, but a lot did make it in, and it really added to it. You know, like the party scene was a great example of that, where we really let the characters just have fun, and we just sort of captured it for the most part. A few little scripted lines here and there, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think also it's kind of everyone to me almost came off like character actors because they had such unique sort of personalities, and the personalities were so original that kind of added to a comedy in itself, and that it wasn't sort of anything inauthentic. It was just them being themselves, which was funny. So I think that really helped with the laughs as well.
Yeah, it's a really good point because you're not dealing with normal people to begin with, so they're already going to be larger than life.
Yeah, it's finding that sincerity in it with characters that already have that big personality, or like caricatures, but not leaning into the caricature part, leaning more into the personal side of it, and why are they like that, and what makes them relatable in that sense while still having a big character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. It's just so many moving pieces, and an indie film, and you just really nailed the tone. I know I've already said that, but it was really cool to see how well it all came together because one ingredient being off, it could have fallen apart. So you said the first draft was 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
Wow, has it been that
Just
long?
over 2 years ago. Yeah, it popped up on my phone. Yeah. That was
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
2 years. It's been a long 2 years.
Yeah. Well,
Grueling 2 years.
yeah.
No, it's been interesting, like navigating COVID as well and getting the project together. I mean, it's actually gone quite seamlessly, really. Considering all the setbacks that the industry's had and we've had, the film's come together nicely.
Yeah. We're gonna say, Connor?
I can't remember now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask if the 2 years was just because it's a lot to put together, the whole process, the casting, post production, everything, getting it out there, or if COVID like took 6 months right off the top or whatever it was.
Yeah, we actually managed to. We had the initial shoot planned, which I think was 12 days in January. So it was just before COVID really took off. Took off is probably the wrong word, but yeah, we got the initial footage in the can. We had time during all the lockdowns to put it all together, see what we had. We'd always planned to do some more scenes, add to what we had, because again, most of the people involved are friends and people we've worked with a lot. So we knew we had a bit of flexibility there, a bit of leeway. So we assembled a first edit, and then we just decided what was working, what wasn't, what we needed more of, what we needed less of. So then we did another 7 days or so after the first lockdown, when the world started to reopen a little bit again, and we added loads of extra scenes, loads of character backstories, that kind of stuff. And for me, they massively elevated the film, but also just really elevated each of the individual characters, seeing a bit more of each of them. Because, I loved all these characters that were in the family. They're so fun, and I just wanted more of them in there.
Watching it, the final product, there's no indication that this scene, it was filmed 6 months, 8 months, whatever, after the scene before it.
That's exactly
glad to hear.
Yeah. That must have been kind of tough to get everything exactly right again.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it comes down to very sharp continuity. Alan, who's the editor, was kind of on set for a lot of the film anyway, and quite involved. So he had a bit of a hawk eye on everything as well, which was really helpful for a sort of a second perspective. And then it was just sort of dealing with COVID regulations and making sure the makeup team were great, Sophie, and making sure everything was the same. He took reference pictures, the usual kind of things. But some of the stuff we shot for the second part, as Connor said, was backstories, so we could be a bit more inventive and kind of explore new sets and locations, which we hadn't been to before. So that was kind of a new territory.
Also had a bit more time to raise a bit more money, which was always helpful. In terms of continuity, the one person who really suffered actually was Jared, who plays Norman, because we made him grow his hair out for that role. We thought it would be finished by the end of January, Meanwhile, he had to keep it all throughout lockdown. The whole summer, he said it was very hot to have big hair.
Because he's in Florida.
You know,
Oh,
he's
geez,
in
yeah.
Florida, and we still made him keep it as safely for a good few months after, and he wasn't pleased.
Yeah, he arrived from one of the last premieres that we had, very closely shaved head, and looking very pleased for it as well.
Oh, that's so you got to see it with a live audience.
Yes, yeah,
That's
we went.
awesome, yeah.
We had our world premiere at Fright Fest, which is a big horror festival in the UK.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun and great, you know, because obviously we'd seen it so many times, like myself, Oki, Dom, but you know, some people like Caitlin hadn't seen it. A lot of the cast, the key cast and crew hadn't seen it, so it was great to finally get everyone together and watch it all together.
It's got to be one of those movies where it's that much more fun with a theater full or mostly full. I don't know what their restrictions were, but to see it with a group of people.
Yeah, I mean, we had 3 sold out screenings, so it was absolutely packed.
Yeah.
And you know, Fright Fest is such a big festival and has such a dedicated audience, and horror audiences already are like very specific and, you know, excited about new content. And the reaction and the sort of reviews were, you know, mind blowing. Really, like we had so many good 4-star, 4.5-star reviews, top 10s of the festival. It was just an amazing atmosphere to be part of.
That's awesome. Yeah, Fright Fest is a great place to debut it. Falls right into their whole thing.
Yeah, it was really wonderful to be with people who were involved in the film, but also people who had never seen it before and real horror fans, and just seeing how strong their reactions were to moments that I had seen a lot of times from the producing side of it, and I'd kind of forgotten in a way how visceral the reaction could be, and it was really quite special to be there for that, and then to see it again the next day because there was an additional screening because we sold the two previous screenings out, and again just a totally different audience, people responding in different places, but it was cool.
Was there any parts that got a huge reaction that maybe none of you guys thought would deliver that kind of reaction? Or the other side, was there something that all of you were like, oh, this is going to be the biggest hit, and it just kind of maybe gets looked over because it's a pretty rapid fire movie?
Yeah, it was interesting what Oki said as well, you know, because I got to see 2 of the screenings of the 3 at Fright Fest, and it was completely different reactions. People were laughing at different moments. There were, again, as always, there are certain lines or moments you think are going to get a huge reaction and they don't, and then the ones you didn't really care that much about suddenly get a huge reaction. And it was really nice for me to hear people laughing, but also, you know, a couple of gasps here and there at the more gory stuff. That was in a way I preferred that even more than the laughs.
It was the eyes that really got me.
Yeah.
Because you know everything that went into it, and whether it's makeup, practical effects, or CGI or camera trickery, you know all the you know the magic trick. But when you see an audience seeing it for the first time, you know it's good to know it actually works because the novelty's still there, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And I can imagine, as you know, you guys were all behind the scenes, like you said, you saw how everything was done, and it's mostly a comedy but with horror elements, so that the horror actually worked as well had to be really satisfying.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Like I keep repeating myself, but you just found the balance. Like when I was watching it yesterday, I was like, oh man, they like really nailed this across the board, and it was really cool to see it all fall into place.
That's awesome.
Sorry, no, I've said it like 5 times by now.
We'll take it. Keep it coming.
Keep saying it. Happy.
Do you have any more public screenings planned? I know you have a festival coming up end of October, you were saying.
Yeah, so in the UK, we're playing one of the biggest festivals in North England, Grimfest, which is at the sort of start of October on the 9th. And then the 30th, we're playing at Film Quest, which is a massive Utah horror festival that's, you know, very highly reviewed from Dread Central, Film Freeway, as one of the top sort of genre festivals in the world. So it was kind of crazy to get that, and also to get like a primetime evening slot on the first Saturday opening weekend. So we're really looking forward to that, and some of the team should be able to go down hopefully the travel corridor open up and we
Yeah.
can also head down as well.
Very cool.
And we've also got a couple more in America that we can't announce yet, but they're also really big ones.
Yeah, I'm sure after the festival circuit, someone's going to pick it up for U.S. distribution. So for people listening in the U.S., like just keep an eye out.
Hopefully, that would be nice.
Yeah, I can't imagine it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean we're not sort of rushing into the distribution side because we've got quite a few festivals to play over
Oh, sure.
October and November. So that's kind of fun, but it's exciting to sort of hear who's interested, and yeah, to sort of be wanted as a film is really exciting from all perspectives.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear American audiences are enjoying it. At least, you know, judging from getting accepted into these festivals, because something we hear over here quite a lot is that sometimes the comedy doesn't translate, like British comedy doesn't translate to America. But from my experience, all the Americans I've ever met when I've been at festivals or just in other situations, they all seem to actually really enjoy British comedy. So I'm not sure if that's just one of those old wives' tales that doesn't really. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's just great to hear that American audiences are responding positively to the film.
I did want to ask if when you were writing it, you had some thought of like, oh, is this going to translate internationally? But like you were just saying, I've always heard that rumor, but I've never heard anyone actually say that. Like, oh, I don't like British comedy because like I don't see it as a different thing.
No, I mean, because I love American comedy, so it's definitely not a two-way street. It's just, yeah, I think it's just one of those old rumors that's not really true.
Yeah.
But, you know, we stuck Caitlin in there just in case.
The international audience. Just
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think it's like, well, if you think of The Office, like it originated in the UK, and then it was such a big hit in the US, and it inspired all of these mockumentary things. So I think the style as well, the mockumentary style, is pretty universal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think it was the UK office that kicked that off, and now it's everywhere.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Oh, well, Caitlin, you said you came into the process a little bit later. You just went in for the auditions. Are you UK based?
Yes. So I went to school in Scotland, and moved down to London after I graduated drama school. My mom is English, so I always had a British passport, and I really liked the way that theater is done over here. I studied theater and that, and I actually started getting more into the film once I moved down to London, because I realized there's quite a crossover that I think in the US, especially because it's so big, and a lot of the film is like in LA and Atlanta and stuff, and the theaters in New York, it's quite spread out. But what was nice about London is you can kind of do bits of both, and like fingers in a lot of pies, which is really exciting from an acting perspective.
And we have
Yeah.
great pies in England.
And yeah.
Always screwed with you, Dom. Always.
It's true.
That's a smart strategy, though. Go where you can do more.
Yeah, exactly. Where you don't have to travel as much as well. Like, even if, like we were filming out in, oh gosh, I don't even know where, like out east, like way out of London, 3 hours out of London, but you could still drive there within plenty of time. And like you can go up to Scotland and film things, and there's so many different kind of landscapes and cities that are so different from each other in the country, that are actually really close to each other as well. So it gives you lots of opportunity, and you don't have to like spend so much money on travel.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
That's why you come to the UK.
Save on travel.
Yeah, it's like going from Atlanta to New York is like $100. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Just get a train.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, like for us in the UK, when we go to America, like it always blows our minds, like the scale and the size of America, and how long it takes to get from kind of one side to the other. And like England, you can just sort of jump in a car or a train, and you can go to so many different places. So it's kind of handy.
Yeah, I always have to try to remember that the other way. Like I forget that not everywhere is like it is here, where it takes you an entire day to fly cross country.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. That sounds like hopefully you guys are gonna be able to come over to the U.S. festivals.
Yeah, we're gonna try.
Hopefully, yeah.
It's a bit sort of hit and miss with the travel corridor announcements at the moment. But we're really hoping that we can, because it'd be amazing to sort of come out and meet a lot of American horror fans.
Yeah.
You know, Connor's a big into American cinema, and I am as well. So it's always been one of our big goals to get out there.
Definitely, and a couple of the other festivals, they're around the same time and relatively nearby. I mean, I know it's in the US, but relatively close by. We could get an internal flight and make a bit of a road trip of it. So fingers crossed it changes and we can get out there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. You could see a chunk of the country, kind of tag a vacation onto your work.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Then you can write it all off in your taxes, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the move.
HMRC are listening to this.
Yeah. Hi, HMRC.
Who's that?
It's like the IRS of the UK. It's like our tax board, government tax board.
Yeah, all right. So I can cut that part out if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's HMRC?
All right. Well, very cool. I love the movie. I don't want to get into too many specifics and spoil it for people, but I love the movie. I think anyone listening should absolutely check it out. And I think it's awesome that you guys got to release when, I guess you can't say COVID's over, but it's at least not as insane as it was this time a year ago, so that you can see it with audiences, as you can get out there and talk about it in person.
Yeah, definitely. And you can follow the film on When the Screaming Starts to find out about the other festivals that we haven't been able to announce when they announce, which would be really cool as well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody taking the time to come on. That was a lot of fun. Congratulations on the movie, and I hope it goes huge for you.
Thank you very much. It's been our pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.